Hey folks, what's up? This is Adam here. I can't see the guy. Time for another review, an updated review. Again, been updating loads of re-uploads lately of stuff I've already done. But I'm in the mood to review a movie, which I didn't see not too long ago actually, because I actually do enjoy this movie. It was one that was released in 2009. Now, my taste in horror movies, action movies, comedy movies, family films. I'm an 80s and 90s guy. I think that was the best era of movies, 80s and 90s. I like some of the early 2000s stuff, but like I said, this one came out in the year of 2009, and it is one that I actually enjoy. And it's actually a film that is very similar to The Good Son, which stars Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin, as you all know, acted in Home Alone, playing Kevin. He made the role famous and all that. Well, he did one evil role in The Good Son, where he played like the evil son, in that movie. But this film is like kind of similar. I like both films equally, so there's no competition in which one's my favourite or anything like that. But like I said, this particular film, Orphan, it's called. Just looking at when it was officially released. Well, got official release dates in different countries. United States and Canada, the 24th of July of 2009. October 22nd, Germany. December 30th in France. So it's had many release dates in different regions and shit like that. So Leonardo DiCaprio was one of the... Hold on a minute. Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio was one of the producers in this movie, and I thought that was really fucking strange. I never knew that Leonardo DiCaprio would actually be a producer of a movie like this, but all things are possible. But this movie, Orphan, it's a 2009 psychological horror movie directed by John Collatsera. Yeah, that's right. His name kind of rings a bell. Was it the House of Wax remake that you're doing or something like that? I'm not sure. All I know is the name just rings a bell, and I know that I've seen and heard that name somewhere else in several other films that I've liked, so I'll have to look into that another time. But let's get on with the review. I've got the Blu-ray of this, Orphan. According to the Times, it's the horror film of the year and was given 4 stars. Whoop, shit. Sorry about that. You'll never guess her secret. And by that they mean the twist. And you do find out what that twist is at the end of this movie, and I thought it was a pretty good twist. Refreshing, something different. Because mostly horror movies these days focus on the gore, not the story, and there's different horror movies that focus on certain things and they don't really like get into anything else. But this movie, I wouldn't say it's gory, but it has its moments of intense. It does have its evil moments, and there's several moments where you really want to hate this character of Esther. Okay, now the girl who played Esther, I thought she was a great actress. It's not her movie debut. She made another film before that, but she's still making films to this very day, and I think she did a fantastic performance as her role as Esther in this. She had a lot of work to do. I mean, there were scenes in this movie where she had to act really evil. There were scenes in this movie where she had to act mysterious. And there were scenes in this movie where she acted totally innocent, like a sweetheart. So she had different scenes in this movie where she had to portray herself in different ways. So, I mean, what the film is about, it's about this couple, Kate and John. Kate's played by Vera Farmiga, John Peter Sarsgaard. That's right. I was satisfied with both of these actors and both of their characters. A lot of people would say that the John character was a bit of a pain in the arse in terms of not realising obvious things, but I was satisfied with him in his role. I'm the same with Vera Farmiga's character, who played Kate. Kate plays this mother, a wife, and although she's not perfect, she does her best to raise her children well and try to be a good wife to her husband and all that. I mean, they've got 2 children. One is a boy called Danny, the other one is a little girl, and she's deaf-mute. And you learn at the start of this movie that she was going to have a 3rd child. But I think she had a miscarriage, and obviously the baby died, and this couple agreed to adopt another member to their family. So they go to this orphanage that's run by these nuns, these sisters, and straight away they take an interest in Esther. And Esther straight away bonds with the couple. You see straight away that she's kind-hearted, polite, like a total sweetheart. You wouldn't dream in a million world that she's got an evil bone in her body or thinks of anything evil in that type of way. She's got a talent as an artist. She likes to paint pictures. But she's a bit of a loner. She doesn't really communicate or socialise with any of the children in the orphanage. But despite her being different, you know, Kate and John take a liking into her and they want to adopt her as their own child for their home, basically. We learn that she was in a house fire and that she's been through a lot in her childhood life. But overall, she's like an innocent girl. She's very polite, well-mannered, and everything a parent could want in a child. So they agreed to take her home. When they take her home, straight away she bonds with the little girl who's a deaf mute. The boy Danny isn't so sure about her. And we notice that he's grown a massive dislike for her. We notice that throughout the movie, you know. They notice that the parents are paying more attention to Esther rather than him. You know, he doesn't see her like a sister. The scenes where he's a little bit jealous, but at the same time concerned by how the way she dresses, how the way she acts, how the way she talks. Basically everything about her. Basically, he doesn't take it like a kindly into her. You know. But we notice this isn't like a perfect family because John and Kate have their own issues. We learn that Kate was once an alcoholic. One night she falls asleep drunk, she passes out, and the deaf mute girl fell through some thin ice, and her life was saved by the father, but they reckon she could have died if it wasn't for the father knowing about it. There's also his side of the story where he cheated on a woman, but yet throughout it all, Kate and John have tried to get back together, and they're trying to be good parents to their kids. They're trying to put all the differences aside to raise these kids good, and they just want to be good parents at the end of the day, despite their occasional arguments and things like that. So, okay, this is where we start to see, you know, like a different side of Esther when she's all along doing her innocent, niceful ways. You know, she's bonding well with the deaf mute girl. You know, we start to see different changes in her behaviour and the way she sees things. I mean, she walks in on this one night where Kate and John are trying to have sex in the kitchen. You know, Esther just sees the scene and then she walks away. And then when she's questioned about it, she immediately says, I know, they fuck. You know, like she's already used to seeing the whole thing, like she already knows what it is. Because I believe the character in this movie is like about 9 years old. So for a 9-year-old to know what's going on in that sort of way, it's kind of a mystery. But again, that's all down to the fucking the secret, the plot at the end of the film, which I'll reveal later on down the line. You know, we see behavioural problems from Esther because she attends school where she's immediately bullied by this girl. There's a scene in the playground where she pushes the bully and she ended up hurting her leg. I think she broke her leg or something like that, but she pushed her in the playground and she got injured. And during this time, Kate and John are getting tensions between each other, arguments. You know, Esther's trying to cause tension between the mother and the father while all this is going on. You know, because John seems to be like defending Esther, while Kate thinks at the back of her mind, although she loves and cares about Esther, she's like trying to admit that she's in the wrong and all that kind of thing. You know, there's even talks about one of the sisters from the orphanage thinking that there's something wrong with Esther because she learns that from a background that there was a house fire and Esther was present at the time, and there was a scene where a boy got hurt with some scissors and Esther was there, so she believes that Esther's mentally dangerous. You know, Esther finds out about this and basically tries to kill the nun, and I'll get to that in a minute. But you see straight away there's something evil about her straight away because there's a scene where Danny the boy is like playing with his paint gun in the backyard and he shoots this pigeon, injuring it. You know, Esther picks up a brick and says, put it out of its misery. He refuses. So she smashes the pigeon with the brick, killing the pigeon. So, you know, straight away there's a violent nature about her, but she's just twisting it round. You know, so there's several twists and turns throughout this movie, but throughout it all, I think the girl who played Esther was solid in her role. There were scenes where you really wanted to hate her, but that just goes to prove that her acting-wise was just, you know, more than good. You know, like I said, she was good expressing being evil. She was good expressing being nice, kind-hearted. But there were scenes where that You know, there's some scenes where she was really evil. I mean, like the scene where she held the knife to the boy's throat and saying, "I'm going to cut off your hairless little prick," and you know, before you know what it's used for. You know, she says things like that. You know, even the scene where the nun got killed, where Esther beats her with a hammer. Before that, she pushed the deaf mute girl into the road. You know, so that the nun could swerve off the road, and Esther beats her with a hammer. You know what I mean? There's a treehouse scene where Esther sets fire to the treehouse, causing Danny to fall from the treehouse to get injured. You know, the hospital scene, for example, where he's on a life support machine and Esther removes the life support equipment so he could die, you know, but he didn't exactly die in the movie, he ended up pulling through. You know, during this time, John and Kate are through severe tension because there's a scene where Kate is like attempting to start drinking again, but she manages to stop herself from drinking. But they find the bottle and they think she started to drink again. You know, that scene was creative where the children are being took to school. You know, the deaf mute girl's in the back seat. Esther messes with the brakes and the car falls backwards down the hill. You know, so she's putting the deaf mute girl in danger. You know, you got all these back and forth scenes. Some people say the scenes were slow in this movie, but I was enjoying the film that much. I didn't see them as like slow moments because throughout the film we're getting character building, character development. We're seeing background stories of all the characters. You know, and you've got all these things going on with Esther being evil and controlling the deaf mute girl and, you know, all these back and forth things. So I didn't think there was any scenes in this movie that dragged. And there was no scenes in this movie that actually became boring or anything like that. I mean, the movie itself is like on for 2 hours. Extras-wise on this Blu-ray, there's not much to talk about. We've got some deleted scenes, an alternative ending, interviews. Yeah, we've got interviews with the cast and crew. So in terms of extras on this Blu-ray edition, there's not really much to talk about in the extras. But again, if you're looking for a film that's not too gory, but at the same time has like the suspension and a horror movie that focuses mainly on like on the psychological aspects on horror characters, and I'd say Orphan is a very, very good choice. But overall, I think it's a film that's good for any horror movie fanatic. You know, if you're looking for a movie in like the 2009 era that you know that you're going to enjoy and get into what's going on, then I really strongly suggest Orphan. I mean, I agree with the Times. It must have been the horror movie of that year, and I think it deserves its 4 stars. I mean, even the ending, you know, where we discover Esther's secret. I mean, this is a spoiler. You know, we find out that she's really a full-grown woman, and she's got that growth disorder that makes her look like a child. You know, she's got a previous history of tricking foster families into adopting her, and when she couldn't seduce the father, she killed the whole family and burnt the house down. And she attempts to do this in this movie where she tries to have sex with the father. You know, he rejects her. You know, and she does the exact same thing. She tries to kill the family. And basically the ending is just about Kate trying to defend her house and her children against Esther. You know, Esther ends up dying, breaking her neck afterward. Kate kicks her in the face and she sinks through the thin ice. You know, so you get the suspense scenes, you get the really deadly scenes, and like I said, she pulled it off. In fact, I wasn't disappointed with any character's performance in this movie. I thought everyone put the heart and souls into the characters. I thought everyone was really spot on with the roles, and I thought they all worked great as a team to pull this movie off. Yeah, from start to finish, it was interesting, intense. And what more can I say about Orphan? Then I really do recommend it to any horror movie fanatic. You know, if you like the film The Good Son, which stars Macaulay Culkin, you'll like this movie, other than it's just a girl. You know what I mean? And it's got some similarities, you know, like Macaulay Culkin did with his character in The Good Son, you know, about keeping his evilness a secret. Yeah, but along the way, he just hints that he's evil. Esther does exactly the same way with her character throughout this movie. There's bits and babs of hints indicating that she's evil and that she's not 100% right in the brain and she's really dangerous. So that's all I've got to say about Orphan. I mean, I will state more facts about this movie if I can just look into it more. Yeah, I've mentioned the release dates in the different regions. It made $78.8 million in the box office with a $20 million budget. And they're actually going to make a prequel of this movie. because according to what I'm reading here, in February 2020, they're talking about a prequel movie entitled Esther. And I'll be interested in checking that out. And the production is set to begin this summer sometime, so that's one thing to look forward to. I mean, obviously you can't make a sequel of this because the character died, but if they're going to make a prequel explaining more about her life, then that would be interesting. I mean, the whole movie itself got mixed reception from people, so mainly positive. Well, everyone's got different emotions about this movie, but overall, I recommend it to any horror movie fanatic, and I wasn't disappointed in anything in this movie, so that's all I've got to say. Check it out, everyone. Please like, rate, and comment this and if you've got any questions. Take care. Peace out.